Hi, welcome to Yellow Slate, your very own school search engine that helps you find the best schools for your kid based on various filters and parameters.
Today we have with us Miss Maithili, an alumna of the Peepal Grove School, who studied international relations at the university in Kyoto. And after living and working in Japan since 2014, she now designs transformative experiences that blend Japanese tradition, culture, and everyday life. To get to know more details about the school and the kind of impact school has provided on Maithili, let us have a conversation with her. Hello,
Thank
Maithili.
you. Hi. I'd love to talk about my time at PGS, the Peepal Grove School. I was there when the school opened, so back in 2006, and was there from the start to 20, I want to say 2012. So about 9 years of my life, and really like formative years. I was there from the age of 9 to 18. So it was really a big part of my growing years of my life. Yeah, it was beautiful. We had teachers from all over the world. The strength of the school was about 100 people when I was there, up and down, but about 100. So it was like a close community. We were in Southern Mandal amidst hills, it's a beautiful, beautiful setting. I don't think a lot of students really get to experience their growing, their childhood years in such a beautiful kind of space. There's butterflies, and we go trekking in the hills and bird watching in the mornings, yoga, running. We would do like marathon races through sugarcane fields. So it's really, really fun. And what colorful memories to look back on, like even 10 years from now. So I had a great time. Teachers are a huge part of that experience. What's really special, I want to say straight off about teachers at PGS or the People Grove School, are that they live on the campus with you. I don't know if you get that at a lot of schools. So they have their own homes on campus, and they will be there from morning to night. They're really there for the experience. They're really committed to children's growth.
Great. So, as you're mentioning teacher-student relationships in particular, can you be a little specific and talk about the kind of bond you used to have with teachers? Because I know teachers are addressed there as Bhaiya, Didi, or Akka. How did this
Yeah.
unique bond with your teachers impact you in terms of trust and emotional support?
Yeah, see, these guys were like our best friends. They teach you big lessons. It's not like they're just your English teacher or your sports teacher. They're part of your life and community. And yes, we call them like Baya and Akka and Didi and all of this, which I think only makes you feel much closer to them. For me, I grew up knowing these people. I was from 9 to 18 is a considerable amount of time to kind of grow up along with these teachers who were also growing up. I think there are no boundaries as such at school where you're like, go to the math teacher for math questions only, because I know our math teacher Abhijit Bhai, he plays on the cricket field. He's your sports buddy. It's a whole life, and I think that really builds our trust. And learning is like such a huge aspect, because you learn about these people as not just your teachers but part of so many aspects of life. And I remember going to Viraj Bhaiya for so much like advice, like, how do I do this, or asking the big questions of life at sunset. We've had so many growing moments that way. And of course, as kids, you have so many questions growing up about like, why does the sun set, or like, how do I deal with this problem I have with my friend? And so we were always able to go to these people because we felt like they're not just your house parents, but they're your friends, and you can talk to them. And so, yeah, very friendly, very fun, lots of teasing, but it was really great. Yeah, for sure.
It's great. Can you take us through your journey from People Grow to Kyoto and now to Tokyo? What exactly led you to study international relations, and how did your time at People Grow influence your choices?
So I was crazy dreaming about Japan from like the age, I think, of 15 to my last couple years of high school in PGS. But my own life story was I grew up in a lot of different countries. I was in Tokyo as a kid, moved to California, and then my parents moved back to India, which is when I went to PGS. So in my mind, I had all these like memories and visions of so many different places and spaces. And PGS too, we had international teachers. A couple of teachers were from Argentina. I felt quite internationally brought up. Like I had memories of Christmas and then Hanami, like spring in Japan. And so I felt like I couldn't, like, what was that one place for me? And I wanted to go somewhere really beautiful. I really respected Japanese culture and the friends we were still in touch with in Japan. So after dreaming every day in PGS about moving to Japan, I made a couple of applications to a few universities. And I was really, really lucky to get selected at Ritsumeikan University, which is in Kyoto near the Golden Pavilion. and got accepted into the international relations program where I studied global studies, studied about culture and society and Japanese, of course. I feel like based on the life I had, I was really lucky to get selected in a program that also taught me a little bit about the world and the cultures we all belong to, and my big question of what is home, like, so it was fun for me. I learned a lot, and that journey was also really interesting to be interviewing with Japanese universities from Sadum. It was fun. Yeah.
Good to know that. So, how do you think your background at People Grow in particular, where they emphasize more on empathy, resilience, and that shapes the experience you create for others now?
We are taught like such a strong language at school. We're always encouraged to question. I know a lot of my friends who studied with me agree. We're super encouraged to ask like the big questions in all our classes, the big questions in life. And at school, every morning we would sing this like prayer, like Sammo Manam Si Janatam, which is like with our minds put together, may we understand. And I feel like that is like in a nutshell something I really take with me, which means like you have to really sit with somebody to get to know them. So like have conversation, like you mentioned, like samvad is so important to talk to people to get to know them because you never know what a person's background is. So I feel like we were already engaging in such interesting conversations at such a young age with people from so many backgrounds, with adults and children alike, and given so much opportunity to take leadership and come up with ideas and put together cultural programs. They trusted us so much and really lifted us to do a lot of fun things at school. So when it came to like the interview process, I was asked a lot of like, how would you tackle this situation? How would you tackle that situation? So I felt like I could be creative in my answers and have something that was really individual to me. We were not just like learning and memorizing from books, we were all encouraged to have our own unique personalities. So I think that's something that really helped me be quite strong in that interview process for universities. And also it helped me in my life in Japan because I didn't go there closed-minded. I had to get to know the people, the culture, even though it was a different language. But that concept of may we understand with our minds put together was like a great place to move into the world from.
That's great. Highlighting the major USPs of People Grow, which are yoga and culinary poet. So, how did these activities actually help you develop that emotional strength and discipline? And do you still carry these practices with you?
Yeah, and I feel like it wasn't just limited to yoga and culinary. Like we were encouraged to dance and go running and said bird watching and develop interest in trekking, being so connected to like that natural environment. Like if you're interested in butterflies, go learn about them. If you see that snake, like you can talk about, so we were so connected to that natural environment. It makes a huge impact in the kind of life you live because, growing up in cities will give you a different experience, of course, but growing up in nature and having such beautiful practices like yoga, we all learned how to meditate at very young ages. Life is full of challenges for everybody, but for me too, sometimes like when I go out into nature today, I live by the ocean near Tokyo right now, and I think part of that need for nature and like finding calmness within oneself really comes from those early values I learned at school. I know like I have this within myself, like we've become quite strong, independent people because we didn't grow up with our parents all the time. So we're not spoiled that way. But we're quite strong, independent people. And I think that comes from these beautiful ancient Indian practices of like yoga, meditation, and singing. That was a big one for my life in school. We had a beautiful music teacher, Sureshji, and we learned how to sing, and that's a nice part of my life too right now. So yeah.
Great. As you're mentioning about trekking, bird watching, and all, what kind of safety precautions does the school follow to make sure that you're in a safety and healthy environment?
I know we definitely have a team, like a good medical team that's also on campus. When we do go out into the hills, your teachers will come with you, and I wouldn't worry from that front because it's quite safe that way. It's a shrub forest, like it's not tall trees, you won't really get lost. It's not super dangerous. I can't remember any time anyone really had serious injuries from the kind of landscape that it is. It's quite flat and round and warm. Yeah.
Does it have any impact in you choosing this career in particular, as it involves that living close to the nature and all? So what kind of impact it had on you making this career choice?
Nature was a big part of my childhood growing up, but right now I kind of work with curating experiences in Japan, and Japan has a huge respect for culture, for nature, for its heritage and history. So I think that respect to the place that you're in is kind of huge, like an amplification of really. It was an interesting jump. I didn't really see myself getting into this travel industry of curation and experience, but now that I look back, I think it really makes sense. It's about a lot of it is about place and really thinking about a beautiful day for someone. And I really enjoy coming up with those plans and working with people to come up with something beautiful.
When it comes to academics, what is that one particular experience that you felt, yeah, the school is different when compared to other schools?
I think it's not rigid like other schools where the learning is kind of looked at from a perspective of tests. Like I remember that my first exam at PGS was in the 8th grade. So up to the 8th grade, we're not really like learning to get a certain number in our tests. We're learning to learn. And I think that's already a huge difference from other schools. We don't care about marks the same way. It's really the growth of a human being, which is such a beautiful thing to do, because I know like we can get quite lost in ICSE, CBSE, and like getting those scores to get into university, and life can feel quite set, like a set of rules. We're really given space and time, which is so necessary to kind of really help wonderful human beings grow to think for themselves. So I think that's really set so well in this school.
Got it. So if you had to pick one key lesson or value from People Grow that you carry with you every day, what would it be?
Lately, based on where I am right now, I remember Sunandaka, she was our English teacher, and we were going from 10th grade to 11th and 12th grade, where you have to choose your core subjects. And we were all like so nervous, like, what do we pick? This is going to impact our life. This is so hard. Chemistry books are like this big. Can we do it? And, all this nervousness in 15-year-olds. And she's like, I know you guys. If you can do it, why don't you? That concept is like still in my heart a little bit today. Like, I think we all have the potential to do so much, and she kind of really helped us see it, because the teachers, they know us and they can see that in us. They can see our potential, and she was like, if you can do it, why don't you? If there's hard things, I'm like, I think I can do it. Why don't I try? So
Got it. We know that not every school is perfect and there's always a scope for improvement. So what do you think that is for People Grow from your experience?
it depends, like what each parent, what each student is looking for. If there's certain students who are really interested in specific aspects, like, I don't know, robotics or something. I don't know if the school is that streamlined. It's really like a holistic program for everything. But if we're looking for something very specific for students, I'm not sure that they're really doing those kind of streamlined specific things. I think parents do have to bear in mind that their kids will be away from them most of the year. So that could be, just how the school is programmed. That's something to consider. Not like a good or bad thing, but it's a boarding school, and it's not like you go home every weekend. I think parents need to really also make a commitment and think hard before they make this decision, because it's not super accessible. But that said, the kids are going to have lifetime friends. You're with your friends and teachers and students every day. So they're going to leave the place with friends for a lifetime. Yeah.
Got it. As you were mentioning about the boarding aspect, how were the food facilities in particular, and were you missing your home food, especially Gujarati food?
I remember them being so like smart and like disciplined about that whole like a well-balanced diet. So you'll have stuff like ragi, which I hated, but but of course, like all that really healthy stuff. I remember like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, everything being so like structured well. Like, we eat 3 times a day. There's juice breaks and tea breaks, and the kids are really well nourished that way. You don't have to think about it. There's a whole chef, a whole dining hall that prepares very good food every single day. So it's fresh food. It's from the farms around the school. So it's very like sustainable looking back. I appreciate it now. But I think I wouldn't worry that way. It's all vegetarian and it's extremely nutritious. And I remember there being chefs who would really like design these meals for the children. So everyone's eating the right amount for their age and all of this.
Great. For current students at People Grow, so what is that one advice you give them as they prepare for their own journeys?
students who are graduating the Peepal Grove School. I think to really leave school with an open mind. I know that you leave school with great friends that you leave behind, which can feel like, a wobbly place. You're leaving behind your home essentially, and you're going out into the world, and this can feel like such a contrast where your food, your friends, your life, everything's taken care of you so well. But I feel like there's so much that's so exciting that's waiting for you, and to just trust everything you have within yourself, and you'll be just fine. I feel like what you've learned at school will really last a lifetime, and it'll be there to support you in whatever you do.
It's great interacting with you, Maithili. I'm sure this will
Thank
help
you so much.
parents who are looking this video. Thank you.